Rowan, obviously, it's been since we last spoke, it's been an incredibly difficult time, hasn't it, for everyone involved at the club? Just how are you at the moment, and how are the squad?
Yeah, I guess deal with the club element of it first. It's been a really um, difficult time for staff and players, particularly those that worked closely with Rob or played with Rob over the years. Like that's been a tough thing for people to process, but also a time of great reflection and sort of paying tribute and to the legacy that he left, during his career and post career as well. Like equally great achievements with what he's been, managed to do. A squad are in, from a squad point of view, we're in reasonable health. There's a few back in the picture, and we've had a chance to train hard last week. And have a freshen up as well, and then into a good week of practice. So everyone's excited to get out there to play again. And it's been sort of a little bit stop-starty with the Challenge Cup breaks for us. So we're eager to get back out there and sort of start a little run and also to begin the sort of tribute from a Rhinos point of view towards Rob and Lindsay and their family.
It was really inspirational seeing the squad pulling together and marking Rob's passing. How have you seen it affect? I mean, has it affected some players more than others?
Yeah, as I said there earlier, some players, some were coached by Rob through the academy process. Some, played with Rob. Some coached Rob. So those guys particularly, have, they've been hurting. They've been sad, and I think that for us that weren't particularly didn't play or work with Rob. There's a bunch of us in the squad, but we've all been inspired, like in our time at the Rhinos, for what he did on the field was defy all the odds and leave a legacy, which everyone strives to do. And then post career, like seeing the struggle and the battle he's put forward for the good of other people. That's inspired all of us. But yeah, it's certainly, some players and staff have been, have had to deal with it, or been rocked with, a little more than others. But particularly the administration staff, a lot of them are, have really spent a lot of time in and around the stadium while there's been so many people coming to visit. It's been a difficult time for the staff as a whole, not just sort of the Kirkstall brigade.
So beyond that, how have you used specifically? How have you used the time between these last two games?
We did some reflection on our last performance and sort of where we were at, and got some hard work done, and then we had a few days to freshen up and came into a good Monday and Wednesday, really good solid sessions, and sort of just ticked it over today to finish off the final touches, ready to go tomorrow.
And like you said, you're getting bodies back. Do you think there'll ever be a chance this season that you'll be able to field? I'm going to say field you 1 to 13.
We're getting closer. That's always the aim, but as I've said many times, it's always about who is playing and not who isn't. But yeah, we hold hope that we can get a good run at it in the next little while, and it certainly makes a difference having your sort of most experienced or your first choice team available. We haven't spent a lot of time together as a unit, that first sort of choice team. So embracing and taking each opportunity as a chance to build is certainly it. And the best way to start that is tomorrow.
How much of a boost is it to have David Fusser-Tua in particular back?
Yeah, it'd be great to have Fusser. Really disappointing for him last time because he'd done such a great rehab, and he's done a great rehab. Both him and Tommy Holroyd have done really well and trained really hard in this last period of time. So obviously they're both very strong ball carriers, and Fuss being a threat in the air and a great finisher as well. So it's a really nice bonus to have him back, and really proud and happy with the way Fuss has gone about his rehab. It's been a tough time, but he's attacked it really well.
Is there anything that can be done to sort of guard against him breaking down again?
We've endeavoured to always bulletproof for all our players as best you can, but it's in the nature of the sport. Sometimes you you get hit in an awkward position, and there's lots of big, heavy men colliding. Fuss is, he's really dedicated himself to getting in the best sort of preventative shape that he can, and we're just keen for him to get back out there and take one game at a time, and he gets a good run at it. He can have a massive impact on our group.
And just on Tom, given the issues that he had and given the issues that were keeping him out, how much of a relief is it to be able to get him back into contention?
Yeah, I think with concussions, what we're certainly finding is that they're no two are the same. And Tom had a few sort of side effects and little setbacks, but in and amongst it, he was actually able to do a fair bit of training. So he missed some of the pre-season training with managing his knee rehab. So it's actually been a mini pre-season for Tom, and he's in probably better shape than he was previously. So he's done some real hard work, and he's ready to get started tomorrow.
And Andy Acker's absence, is that due to concussion protocol, and are there any worries regarding him?
No long-term worries. It's just it's a bit of an extended return to play, that given the symptoms that he suffered, and it was a delayed onset. So he's training well the last couple of days within what he's able to do, and we'll just continue to progress that and monitor the symptoms if there are any at all.
Talk about Hull in a second. I just wanted to mention the sporting director, because obviously that's been announced since we last spoke, and I don't think Ian starts until, is it next week, 17th or something like that? But have your thoughts on the appointment really, and whether you've had any tentative talks with Ian Blease?
Firstly, yes, fully supportive of the appointment, and I've come across Ian in my time as a coach, a very young coach. I was on the other side of some teams that Ian was involved in, and then Ian as a player agent there for a little while I was at Bradford. We had some conversations and spent a bit of time together. We don't know each other well, but there's a respect there, and looking forward to working together. We had an impromptu chat on Monday in and amongst sort of media and induction and getting shown around the place and whatnot. So we'll look to get the ball rolling on Monday when he kicks off officially.
Just on player issues at the moment, there's obviously reports surrounding Rhys Martin about possibly Lee leading the chase to sign him for next year. Are you in a position, Rohan, to say whether you resign to losing Rhys for next season?
No, we'd like Rhys to stay, and Rhys has been made an offer, and that's something that, along with a few other players, that Ian will get his head around when he's in the building, and we'll make those. We'll discuss that and take the course of action as it goes. But we want Rhys to stay.
Quite a big in tray that he's coming into, isn't it, for Ian?
Well, there's always plenty going on, whether it's all in the press or visible for you guys. There's always plenty going on. So it's a big club, and there's plenty to do, and it'll be an opportunity for Ian to get started next week.
Yeah, I'm sure there is. Just give us your thoughts on this week's game. Then what are you expecting from that trip to Hull?
I'm expecting us to play well and attack the game. It's not too long since we played there, but there's quite a few differences to both teams, a little bit from a structural point of view and certainly from a personnel point of view. So each game is its own adventure, but we're quite familiar with, obviously, the travel going over there and playing in that environment. We've trained well, we've prepared well, and ready to go and attack it and get this little 2-game block going.
And just lastly, I mean, how important is it that the players don't look at the table and don't look at the form when they're thinking about Hull?
That's always my approach, is to address each game as its number one priority, which it is. There's only one game on this week, so people that look at the table, it doesn't serve you to accurately grade the opposition. They've played some really strong games in recent times. They've played much better. But each game is its own thing, so you've got to turn up and earn the right in this competition, and it's something that we're going to do tomorrow.
Just on the emotional impact of the last couple of weeks and tomorrow's game, it's this whole match and the League One are going to be quite emotional off the field with commemorations of Rob. How hard is it going to be for the players to put that to one side and just get out there and do their job?
Yeah, well, each individual deals with these things differently. I'm sure in some aspects it'll give players a bit of increased, motivation or inspiration to get out there and perform well and to honour Rob. But it's always a balancing act. Building up too much emotion from a performance point of view doesn't always serve people well. So that'll be an individual thing. And once, I think most players, once they're out there in the battle, they're worried about what's happening. When I'm getting tackled or making a tackle, they're not thinking about too many other things. So, but certainly in the build-up, there'll be some emotion attached for a bunch of the guys, particularly as I said earlier, those that have been close to Rob and his family, or played with Rob or been coached by him. I think those guys particularly have been. Been quite emotional, but it's it's in a positive way as well. They're really grateful for their time that they had with Rob.
I know it's difficult, but is there an element of sort of let's put on a show for Rob sort of thing, or do you try not to bring that into the discussion?
We want to put a show on for Rob, and we want to put a show on for our fans and for ourselves. We want to play well, we want to play strongly, and leave no doubt tomorrow, and then build going forward. But as I said, for some players, they, when it gets hard, they can find a little bit more for Rob if that's the way that they're sort of inspired. But for some players, it's just a matter of being in their regular sort of emotional state and being consistent with what works for them as well. So it's very much an individual-based sort of situation, I think, regarding that emotion.
And obviously, Fuss is back in the 21. What's the situation with Matty Russell? He was brought in as cover for the wing positions. Obviously, still out with his knee and head knock. Is that loan going to continue?
He signed a 2-month loan initially, so we're very happy to have Matty as part of our squad. He's actually recovered from the head knock and the knee, and he's got another sort of very minor niggle that we didn't want to push this week. But we'll get that sorted, and he'll be back into the mix next week.